I'm vengeance.
Matt Reeves' Batman is probably the closest and most accurate depiction of Batman characters that we've seen in the live-action adaptations of The Caped Crusader. One may say that this was the Batman movie that we had been waiting for the past 83 years. But before we begin, we are giving a couple of movie tickets to people in India and the United States. All you have to do is ensure that you're a subscriber of our channel and leave a comment about your most favorite part from this video.
Let's play a game, just me and you.
Matt Reeves' masterpiece of a movie is set in another reality, where Bruce Wayne has been serving a crime-infested Gotham for just about 2 years as the Batman, something on the lines of the 2019 film Joker. And, believe it or not, apart from the title frame, you'll not see anyone even saying the word Batman.
Who are you under there? What are you hiding?
Even Bruce Wayne addresses himself as something else when he's working night shifts. Of course, we'll not spoil it for you. And the closest name to Batman for Pattinson's character was Batboy. What do you think this hints at?
You came.
And now, moving on, what Reeves achieves in his film is keeping it grounded in realism, with heavy doses of neo-noir and crime noir. Honestly speaking, if The Dark Knight was the heat of Batman universe, Matt Reeves' film is the Seven of Batman films. Also, Reeves was sure enough to include elements from comics such as Year One and The Long Halloween. The beauty of the film lies in the breathtakingly authentic and thorough portrayals of characters like Paul Dano's Riddler and Zoe Kravitz's Cat Burglar, which are more than satisfactory. Although, I still have a soft corner for Jim Carrey's portrayal of the Riddler. Speaking about villains, Colin Farrell wears surprisingly realistic prosthetics and is rather unrecognizable. Another thing that serves for Reeves' film is portraying the Dark Knight as the world's greatest detective. I mean, yes, we had Christian Bale's Batman solving major crimes in Christopher Nolan's films, but then it was high on action and more superheroic, but Reeves' film keeps it believable. Lastly, Robert Pattinson has redeemed himself as a Batman, who is far from the millennial Batman people expected him to be.
When that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning.
In fact, he is extremely intimidating and fear-inducing. Without further ado, let's dive deeper into this review. It's too dark, yet dark enough. Matt Reeves' film revolves around a ruthless, intelligent, and crazy serial killer in the form of the Riddler, while Bruce Wayne has been serving Gotham City as its silent guardian for about 2 years. It becomes evident from the trailers itself that the Riddler wishes to personally include Batman in the web of his killings.
The Riddler is asking for you.
So, while Batman is yet to learn several aspects about his new lifestyle, he has to take down the Riddler and understand his motives. As was already speculated by several fans and experts, the new Batman movie is not entirely in the same universe as other DC Extended Universe movies such as Justice League. And naturally, the Gotham that lives in Matt Reeves' mind is pretty different from what we have seen in the past. He has effectively immersed his Gotham in palettes of red and black. And in this visually dark Gotham, run organized crime syndicates that are equally dark and morose. And of course, the Riddler is a byproduct of such organized crimes. This is in line with many villains from Batman, the animated series. The film's tone and its direction will remind you more of classic films such as David Fincher's Zodiac and Seven than other Batman movies. The reason behind this is simple: Matt Reeves has portrayed and written Pattinson's character as the world's greatest detective. And then there's the fine chemistry between him and Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman.
You got a lot of cats.
I have a thing about strays.
In the end, all of these points come together to make The Batman the definitive Batman film ever, probably an equal to Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, if not better. How did Robert Pattinson fare as Batman? The short answer to this question would be that he was as fresh yet disturbing as Joaquin Phoenix was in Joker. But you're not here for the short version, are you? Well, as mentioned earlier, Pattinson was intimidating in his depiction of Gotham's watchful protector, much against the opinions of several people who judged him based on his roles in franchises like Harry Potter and Twilight. However, he has come far away as an actor, and one must take a look at his recent indie films such as director Robert Eggers' marvelous chamber drama The Lighthouse, where Pattinson seizes the opportunity with gusto. In The Batman, he gracefully enters the pantheon of great Batmans like Keaton and Bale, and most notably, the young actor wears the title as a crowning jewel. Pattinson's Batman speaks the least of all Batmans that we've come across, and even when he does speak, it's mostly a whisper. This leads to an enhanced sense of mystery to his character.
Who are you under there? What are you hiding?
He's clearly not the eccentric billionaire, playboy, orphan who fights crime, but someone who's been battered hard by fate and circumstances into becoming a freak who does bad self-therapy, and probably enjoys inflicting pain. He's definitely not your usual all-good superhero, but a disturbed caped crusader who's trying to right the wrongs. Matt Reeves was smart enough to not convert the film into an origin story for Batman, because Nolan's Batman Begins already exists and it's a great movie in itself. Instead, we have ourselves a film that serves as a coming-of-age film for Batman. That doesn't mean that Pattinson's Batman is a young novice. In fact, when Batman throws a punch, he throws it hard. Great villains make great heroes. It's an unsaid truth that behind every great hero, there's a great villain. Christian Bale's Batman wouldn't have been so without Heath Ledger's groundbreaking performance, and so would have been the fate of the Avengers without the mighty Thanos. In The Batman, Paul Dano, as the Riddler, is insanely horrifying in every scene that he appears. His menacing eyes and petrifying whispers take the viewers into a world of the Zodiac Killer, who just like the Riddler, used to leave cryptic messages at his crime scenes. Dano's character is far different from that of Jim Carrey's, but Dano brings a certain eeriness to his role, just as Heath Ledger did in Dark Knight. But unlike Ledger's outrightly maniacal character, Dano is menacingly chilling and frightening. For a comic book villain, he will give you the creeps and chills because of his meticulously elaborate schemes. And it wouldn't be a surprise if he's nominated for this year's Oscar for his performance. The next in line has to be Colin Farrell in his portrayal of the Penguin. His Penguin is not only the most relatable, but the least over the top. I mean, Penguin was never really supposed to eat raw fish and have an overpronounced crooked nose, right? Colin Farrell was absolutely unrecognizable underneath all those special effects, but the X factor about him was his voice, which he seems to have transformed for his part. If the Riddler was the Zodiac Killer, the Penguin was absolutely and undeniably the Tony Montana of this crazy Batman film. He's nefarious, he's cunning, and almost insane. And, last but not the least, John Turturro as Carmine Falcone is another treat to watch, but saying anything else about him would run the risk of spoilers. John is undoubtedly a prolific actor, and he brings the right amount of intensity to his character. All in all, these guys made the film what it is. The Cat Burglar and the Others. Well, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman was not just a femme fatale, but also an anti-hero that she usually is. In the movie, she is the daughter of a major character, but it doesn't get revealed until the end. This adds more gravity to her character. She is nothing like Anne Hathaway's Catwoman, but something more grounded in reality and humble, in the sense that her gadgets and her mask are very down to earth, and reflect that she's a vigilante who is economically as poor as Batman is rich. Apart from these angles, she obviously serves as another twisted love interest of Batman's. Moving on, people like Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon and Andy Serkis as Alfred Pennyworth have beautifully added to the story with their well-written roles and fine acting. Gordon is still a lieutenant in the film, and it's obvious, given that Bruce Wayne has been doing night shifts for only about 2 years. While Batman's agenda are not clear to the public and Gotham City Police Department, Gordon has come form a relationship with Batman, almost trusting him blindly. It's sufficient to say that his character is up for heavy development. On the other hand, Serkis is not seen in the film as much as other Alfreds, such as Michael Caine. Nonetheless, he has a crucial role as someone who helps in shaping Bruce's actions and future as the Caped Crusader. We'd like to sum up by pointing out that Matt Reeves's The Batman is an ostensibly realistic take on Gotham's savior, and probably more grounded than Nolan's version. While it is essentially a superhero flick, it is equal parts a detective thriller and a horror film. I mean, it could be a horror film, but with Batman characters. The investigative angle is probably even better than films like Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, making Pattinson's character really deserve the title of the world's greatest detective. This, and Michael Giacchino's haunting score makes this almost 3-hour-long film feel like 2.
Fear is a tool.
And, of course, there's the well-choreographed action sequences, which make the bladder testing runtime a walk through the park.
It's a warning.
The film almost never drags and remains gripping throughout. All in all, the film will leave you wanting for more, and you'll leave the theaters excited once again for Batman's future. Speaking of which, do hang around for the post-credit scene. We'll explore it further when the Batman releases on HBO Max in the 3rd week of April. That was all in this video. Do hang around for awesome content on the Batman and other hot topics. Take care and have a good one.